Have you ever wondered why more and more young people are being diagnosed with cancer, even though they don't smoke, don't drink excessively, and have no family history of the disease? The answer may surprise you. It's obesity. Most of us think obesity only leads to familiar conditions like diabetes, high blood pressure, or heart disease. But in reality, science has uncovered something far more dangerous and silent. Obesity can increase the risk of at least 13 different types of cancer. Sounds unbelievable, right? Because when we think of cancer, we often blame genetics, smoking, pollution, or lifestyle. Rarely do we imagine that excess fat in our bodies, something many people believe only affects appearance, could actually fuel the growth of cancer. Think about it. Inside your body are millions of fat cells. When fat levels rise too high, these cells don't just sit there storing energy anymore. They turn into tiny chemical factories, releasing hormones and inflammatory substances. These slow, silent reactions can damage DNA, disrupt hormones, and eventually open the door for cancer cells to appear. The scary part is, you won't notice it right away. No obvious pain, no clear symptoms. But over time, these hidden changes build up, and one day, a medical checkup could deliver shocking news. In today's video, we'll uncover: why is obesity so strongly linked to cancer? Which types of cancer are silently lurking in people who are overweight? And most importantly, what can you do, starting today, to protect yourself and reduce this hidden risk? Stay with me until the end of the video, because this knowledge could completely change the way you look at body weight, not just as a matter of appearance, but as a matter of life. And when we talk about cancer, most of us immediately think of the usual causes: smoking, drinking, pollution, or genetics. But there is one silent factor, often overlooked, that plays an equally important role, and that is obesity. So why does excess weight have such a strong connection to cancer? The answer lies in how our body actually works. In our bodies, fat is not just a soft layer under the skin that keeps us warm or stores energy, as many people assume. In reality, fat is an active tissue, almost like its own organ. It releases hormones, proteins, and inflammatory chemicals. When fat builds up too much, especially visceral fat around the liver, stomach, and intestines, the body enters a state of chronic, silent inflammation. This inflammation acts like a dangerous fuse. Imagine your body as a highly sophisticated machine. If your cells are constantly attacked by inflammatory chemicals and abnormal hormones, the DNA, the genetic material, becomes more prone to damage. And once DNA is damaged, cells can start growing out of control, leading to the formation of malignant tumors. But it doesn't stop there. Obesity also disrupts the balance of hormones. For example, in overweight women, fat tissue produces higher levels of estrogen. Excess estrogen has been proven to be linked to breast cancer and uterine cancer. In obese men, insulin resistance and high levels of insulin in the blood create conditions for abnormal cell growth, increasing the risk of pancreatic cancer and liver cancer. Another concerning factor is that obesity weakens the immune system, our body's natural shield against abnormal cells. When the immune system is no longer working effectively, newly formed cancer cells have a better chance of escaping and multiplying. All of these mechanisms work together, like links in a dangerous chain reaction. The end result is that people who are overweight or obese face a much higher risk of developing cancer than those of normal weight. And what's even scarier is that most of this process happens silently over many years before any symptoms of disease appear. You see, obesity is not just about weight or appearance. It is truly a medical condition that affects nearly every organ in the body. And cancer is just one of the most serious consequences it can bring. In the next part, we'll dive deeper. Which specific types of cancer are most closely associated with obesity, and why they appear so frequently in people who are overweight? This is the part that will make you rethink the relationship between your body and your weight. When we think about obesity, most of us immediately connect it with diabetes, high blood pressure, or heart disease. But very few people realize that obesity can also be a silent partner of cancer. And not just one or two types of cancer, but many. Large-scale studies have shown that obesity is directly linked to at least 13 different types of cancer. That number alone is shocking, isn't it? So, which cancers are most closely tied to excess weight? Let's take a closer look. Especially in women after menopause. Excess body fat produces extra estrogen, and that surplus of estrogen becomes fuel for the growth of breast cancer cells. That's why women who are overweight after menopause face a much higher risk than those with a healthy weight. One of the most common cancers worldwide. Obesity drives chronic inflammation in the body, and this inflammation damages the digestive tract over time. The lining of the colon and rectum becomes vulnerable, creating opportunities for abnormal cells to form and eventually turn into cancer. Your liver is the body's detox factory. When fat builds up, it can lead to fatty liver disease, inflammation, and even cirrhosis, which then becomes fertile ground for liver cancer. Similarly, the pancreas is heavily affected by insulin resistance caused by obesity, making pancreatic cancer more likely. And remember, pancreatic cancer is one of the deadliest forms, with very high mortality rates. Most people don't think of kidneys when they think of weight, but the link is strong. Carrying excess weight forces the kidneys to work overtime. Combined with high blood pressure and hormonal imbalances, this creates the perfect conditions for kidney cancer to develop. In women, obesity doesn't just disrupt menstrual cycles, it also raises the risk of cancers in the uterus and ovaries. Once again, the culprit is the excess estrogen produced by fat tissue. Overweight individuals are much more likely to experience acid reflux. Stomach acid constantly irritating the lining of the esophagus can lead to cellular changes and eventually esophageal cancer. This is a pathway that often goes unnoticed until it's too late. And that's not all. Research also shows links between obesity and other cancers, such as gallbladder cancer, thyroid cancer, and multiple myeloma. They may be less common, but they still add to the overall risk. The frightening part is that none of this happens overnight. It's like a ticking clock, counting down silently, year after year, without you even realizing it. And by the time the signs appear, the disease is often already advanced. That's why understanding this connection now is so critical. It gives us the chance to act early, to make changes, to protect ourselves, and to prevent cancer before it takes root. You might be wondering, how can fat alone possibly lead to cancer? It sounds hard to believe, but science has proven that this connection is very real. The truth is, fat in the body isn't just a place to store energy, like many people think. It acts more like a living organ, always active, and sometimes it works in dangerous ways. Let me explain. First, fat produces hormones. When your body stores too much fat, fat cells produce an excess of estrogen. Estrogen in the right amount is important, but too much of it fuels uncontrolled cell growth. And that's when cancer can appear, especially in the breast and uterus. Second, fat triggers chronic inflammation. Imagine a fire smoldering inside your body. Not big enough for you to feel pain, but enough to keep damaging tissues day after day. This ongoing inflammation makes DNA more vulnerable to damage, and once DNA is broken, abnormal cells start to form, the very seeds of cancer. Third, fat disrupts insulin and blood sugar. Obesity often leads to insulin resistance. High insulin levels in the blood don't just cause diabetes, they also stimulate cell growth, including cancer cells. That's why obesity is closely linked to pancreatic cancer and colorectal cancer. And finally, fat weakens the immune system. Normally, your immune system works like a special police force, constantly hunting down and destroying abnormal cells before they can turn into cancer. But when the body is overloaded with excess fat, the immune system becomes weaker and less alert, giving dangerous cells the chance to multiply. All of these processes don't happen overnight. They're like a slow-moving destruction machine running quietly inside your body. You don't see it, you don't feel it, but it's working. Every single day. That's why obesity should never be underestimated. It doesn't just change how you look on the outside, it silently changes how your body works on the inside, creating the perfect environment for cancer to grow. By now, you can see that obesity isn't just about appearance. It's a serious health issue directly connected to life and death. So, what can we do to lower the risk and protect ourselves from this hidden link between obesity and cancer? The most important thing I want to emphasize is this. You don't have to change everything overnight. In fact, small but consistent steps often bring the most lasting results. First, focus on your diet. Start by cutting down on processed foods, fast food, and sugary drinks. Replace them with vegetables, fruits, whole grains, and healthy sources of protein like beans, nuts, fish, or lean meat. Don't think you need to starve yourself or go on extreme diets to lose weight. Simply changing habits, like swapping a fried chicken meal for a salad with grilled fish, can already reduce a huge amount of calories. Second, move your body regularly. I'm not saying you need to spend 2 hours a day at the gym. Even brisk walking for 30 minutes, 5 days a week, helps burn fat, reduce inflammation, and strengthen your immune system. If you enjoy dancing, swimming, or sports, make those your exercise. What matters most is not how intense it is, but whether you can stick with it long term. Third, get enough sleep and manage stress. It may not sound related, but sleep and stress have a big impact on weight. When you're sleep deprived, your body produces hormones that make you crave food, especially sugar and carbs. And when you're under constant stress, it's easy to turn to food for comfort. That's why sleeping 7 to 8 hours a night and finding ways to relax, whether through meditation, yoga, or just walking outdoors, is key to maintaining a healthy weight. Fourth, get regular health checkups. Don't wait until symptoms appear. Many cancers can be treated successfully if caught early. Regular checkups give you a clear picture of your health and a chance to make changes before it's too late. And there's one thing I truly want you to remember. Losing weight isn't just about looking better or feeling more confident. It's about protecting your life. Studies show that losing just 5 to 10% of your body weight can significantly lower the risk of several types of cancer. So don't feel pressured to look like a model to be successful. Every small step you take, whether it's skipping soda or adding 15 minutes of walking to your day, is a powerful step away from cancer. Many of you may be wondering, so what should we really eat to protect our health and reduce the risk of cancer? The answer lies in the choices we make at the dining table every single day. One of the simplest but most powerful changes you can make is to shift toward a more plant-based diet. I'm not saying you have to give up meat or fish overnight, but start by adding more vegetables, fresh fruits, beans, nuts, and whole grains to your meals. These foods are rich in fiber, vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants, all of which help reduce inflammation, control weight, and most importantly, lower the risk of cancer. More and more studies confirm that a vegetarian or primarily plant-based diet can significantly reduce the risk of chronic diseases, including cancer. Plant-based foods are not only lower in calories, they also provide clean energy, keep the body light, and strengthen the immune system. And here's something even more meaningful. Choosing plant-based foods doesn't just benefit your own health, it also helps protect the environment and reduce suffering for animals. It's a choice that brings double value for yourself and for the planet. You don't need to change 100% overnight. Start small. Replace one meat-based meal with a plant-based one. Swap fast food for a hearty vegetable soup. Step by step, you'll feel your body becoming lighter, your mind clearer, and your overall health improving. When we talk about the hidden link between obesity and cancer, we're not only talking about disease, we're talking about a way of life. And you are the one who holds the power to choose. Always remember, every bite of food you take can either be medicine for healing or a silent poison. The choice is yours. So, if you're listening right now, start with just one healthier meal. More greens, less meat. You'll not only protect yourself from cancer, but also create a brighter, healthier future for your loved ones. Thank you for staying with me through this video. If you found this message helpful, please share it so more people can understand this important truth. Together, we can build a healthier community full of energy and love for life. And never forget, health is not a luxury. It's the most precious gift you can give yourself every single day.